We're talking boxing. We're talking about what 2024 may deliver. We're talking about 2023 and what it did deliver. Simon, when you look, we have got ourselves a list in front of us here.
Indeed we do.
My God, you know, it was none too bad, was it? You and I were at Better BF against Yard.
Yes.
There was Liam Smith against Eubank.
Twice.
There were others, of course,
Joyce
in there as
Zhang.
well. Lee Wood up against Josh Warrington,
Yes.
all British affair. We love one of them.
Yes.
And then, of course, with this fella, Mr. Oliver, heading out to Riyadh on the 23rd of December, and we had everything that offered up and more.
Yeah.
It's been all right, hasn't it?
The accusation when people were critical was about the heavyweights, but nothing else. Most people were suggesting that decent fights were being made.
Yeah.
What the concern was is that the heavyweight division hadn't got itself together, and that given that the economic food chain was fueled and the interest levels and the engagement feeds down from the heavyweight division, that's where the criticism was coming from, and it was rightful criticism. Now that's kind of been knocked on the head by what Queensberry managed to achieve by getting a relationship with the Saudis, which then opened the door for Queensberry to be on the same table as Matchroom, and Matchroom to be on the same table as Wasserman, and Wasserman to be on the same table as Top Rank, and so on and so forth. Right. So the last quarter of the year, including Ngannou, probably leading towards Dubois and Usyk, and finishing in the Saudi event, redeemed the heavyweight division to some extent.
So the heavyweight division in 2024, Simon, you will say will catch up with the rest and maybe surpass it.
Well, yeah, you have to give kudos to Usyk for fighting Dubois. I don't think you give much kudos to Tyson Fury for fighting Francis Ngannou, do you?
Yeah. But I think, listen,
That's us
I
banned
think
from Saudi?
2024, though, we get the undisputed fight. We get the fight that we've been waiting for, you know, for the last few years or so with Fury and Alexander Usyk. And I think we get Anthony Joshua possibly against a winner of them. He may go in for a third time against Usyk if he wins. If not, we may get him against Fury. I think the Saudis will make that happen. So I think 2024 will be a huge year. But looking down this list, and you look
do you see Joshua getting in front of a rematch clause, though? I mean, if Joshua fights Hrgovic and Usyk fights Fury and then they've got a rematch in 6 months' time, you won't see Joshua fight Usyk or Fury in 2024, will you?
Possibly. It depends how the fight plays out. I mean, but I think that you'll see Joshua. I think you could see Joshua in against one of those before the end of 2024, even if they've got that rematch clause in place. If they've got a rematch clause in place and the fight happens February, the rematch might happen by summertime, and then you've got December time again. Absolutely.
In Saudi?
Yeah.
Saudi in summertime?
Yeah, why not? We've done it before. We've been in Saudi.
Listen, outdoors,
exactly. They cater for it. We was out there before with was that Anthony Joshua versus Alexander Usyk? It was like September time or so.
September.
Yeah.
But if you I can see it in September.
There,
I can see it in September. But if you fight Usyk versus a Fury rematch in September, you ain't fighting again.
But I'm talking about June sort of time.
I mean, the countdown is very much on now. We're talking about Usyk going in against Tyson in February. We're talking about weeks now. Very soon, weeks will become days.
Yes.
Where's your head with it?
It's a tough fight to call. You go off last performances, and we see, Tyson Fury's last performance wasn't great, but then, I think Tyson Fury's at that stage of his career where he needs something to get up for, and I think that he thought he had to just turn up to win that contest, and he was surprised by Ngannou's boxing ability, and he got caught with a shot in the third round, and he was sort of all over the place. I don't think we'll get that Tyson Fury when he boxes Alexander Usyk. Tyson Fury now, I hear, is already over in Saudi Arabia. He's training, he's getting ready for the fight. He knows it's the biggest fight of his career. Alexander Usyk is in great shape as well. So we're going to get a definite Tyson Fury in this fight to what we did against Ngannou, that's for sure. But where am I at with it? Listen, I've always said Tyson Fury will be too big. I think his range is too long and his boxing IQ is smart as well. Yes, Usyk is brilliant and he's an unbelievable mover and he knows how to get in and out and he knows how to work with the bigger guys. But Fury...
Do you think, Spence, there's any truth in certain people's observations that the reason why Fury started meeting people in the middle of the ring rather than using the ring and using his ability to move is because he can't anymore? And if he can't anymore, doesn't that put him in a range of real jeopardy with Usyk now? Because once upon a time, you and I would have nothing but praise for Tyson Fury. It's very difficult to see since the Dillian Whyte fight, and even that wasn't a competitive fight, what Tyson will have done in the last 2 years, right? Because I don't think Derek Chisora, with all due respect to Derek, besides him getting a payday out of it, it was just a beatdown. Yeah. Francis Ngannou was an embarrassment. Yeah. To him, and whether he likes it or not, and whether that gets us banned as well, is incidental. So, are we in any jeopardy, do you think, of seeing what we've just described happen to Deontay Wilder as getting old overnight?
No, I don't think so.
Happening to Tyson Fury.
I think it's all about adapting. When you get older, and maybe he can't move the way that he used to move, so he's got that adaptability, and I think that he's got to use his attributes to his advantage, hence his reach. He doesn't mind having a fight anyway, Fury. And we've seen since the Deontay Wilder trilogy that he has changed his style a little bit, and he has met fire with fire, and that sort of works.
Is that because he's had to?
Yeah.
Because people are suggesting his legs can't take it anymore, his ankles can't take it.
Well, maybe it is, maybe it isn't. But I know that's probably the way that he feels is effective for him right now. And I think against Alexander Usyk...
Is that how he's most effective, do you think?
It will be against Usyk, definitely.
Because of the size and weight
Absolutely,
range.
yeah. Because Fury's very good at using his weight to his advantage. He'll lean on his opponents.
Usyk is very good at moving around the ring.
Yeah, but is it not the case, Simon, for us, in order for us to see Fury against AJ...
Yeah.
We need Fury to dispose of Alexander Usyk.
Well, the best fighter wins, don't we? I mean, do I want to see Anthony Joshua fighting Alexander Usyk again? I wouldn't mind that fight. I think the second fight was more competitive. I think Anthony felt he got closer in that fight, and I think the camp felt he got closer. So there's no reason to think that he couldn't get closer again. So I want the best fighters to fight the best fighters.
But surely AJ versus Fury, that's the fight everyone wants to see. I mean, that's the fight. I think we need to talk about legacy fights and eras and whatnot. That's the fight that we've got.
But that's up to Tyson Fury, isn't it?
Yeah.
If Tyson Fury does it, the challenge is that Anthony Joshua is likely to do his job. Right? He's likely to re-establish himself. He's been on the sidelines a little bit for the last 18 months, which has been unusual for him because he's been used to being the head honcho, and you have to negotiate at the table of Anthony Joshua. If he manages to get himself back to beating Hrgovic, if that's the fight that gets made and gets a world title shot, all of a sudden it's a very different discussion between Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury than might have happened recently.
One we do want to see. I was very impressed with Bivol again, Dimitri Bivol in Saudi. So if there's an opportunity to see Bivol against Beterbiev, then that is one that we want to see. But standing in the way of that is one Callum Smith. Can you see Callum Smith in a few days' time doing anything against Beterbiev?
Absolutely. You've got to give him more than a chance, Callum Smith. Absolutely. Yeah. Callum Smith is an elite fighter. Forget that he's not just another world champion. I mean, I'm talking elite fighter. Forget the performance he put in against Canelo Alvarez down at super middleweight. He was struggling like mad to make... If you look at the size of him, Callum Smith is huge. Going up to light heavyweight was a massive move for him, like in his advantage. And I think that, I can definitely see him beating Beterbiev.
But Spencer, I mean, you sat with us. Simon, you and I sat yards away from Beterbiev dismantling Anthony Yarde.
I'm not sure that towards the end of the fight he did, but for the first half of the fight,
he asked himself questions.
He was asked some serious questions by Anthony Yarde.
Simon, you could not stop singing the praises of Beterbiev as we left the arena
because he overcame what was an impressive performance from Anthony Yarde, because Anthony Yarde came to fight. And really, really had a go at him. Yeah. And Beterbiev did what great champions did, which is dig down, bite on the gum shield, and came back stronger. So he took, to some extent, Anthony Yarde's heart, because Anthony Yarde gave him his best shots, and the fellow was still there, and then came back stronger.
Yeah.
Callum Smith, I think, is a better fighter. Callum Smith is a better fighter than Anthony Yarde. And with due respect to Anthony Yarde, is one of my favourites. I think Callum Smith has a really good chance in this fight.
Absolutely, Alf. And I think Anthony Yarde, he hurt Beterbiev as well a couple of times to the body. He hurt him a couple of times to the body. Callum Smith is an unbelievable body puncher. He works well on the inside. Listen, you probably lean towards Beterbiev as a 55-45 favourite going into the fight, but Smith's got a real chance here to really rip up the scripts and get that fight everyone's been wanting to see with Dimitri Bivol, who I believe... I understand, Simon, he signed that contract over in Saudi to fight Beterbiev if he comes through this fight. So, a lot on the line. And that's another thing for Beterbiev as well. He's got to be careful he doesn't take his eye off the ball and overlook Callum Smith, because Smith recognises it's the last roll of the dice.
I'd love Callum Smith to do it. I'd love him to do it. As we go into 2024, Spencer, is it really the case that if you want to see a star of boxing emerging on the scene, look no further than this fella Naoya Inoue coming out of Japan?
Oh, come on. Like, he's a four-weight world champion. He's a four-weight world champion, 26 fights, 26 wins, 23 KOs, undisputed world champion in 2 different weight divisions. The only other guy to do that is Terence Crawford.
I mean, when will we see him here? We're going to see him here? We're going to see him at some stage?
I really pray that we do. He's gone from light flyweight up to super bantamweight, and I believe he can go further as well. I think he can go up to 126, up to featherweights as well. I mean, you are talking about a superstar of the sport. He does everything so well. He controls the space so well. He's so heavy-handed, puts the shots together. Really exciting to watch. So, superstar of the sport. He's in my pound for pound. He's in the pound for pound top 3 without a doubt. He could be pound for pound number 1 in the world. You got the argument there. Him, Terence Crawford. They're sort of like 1, 2. What way do they go? There's an argument.
Wow, that's the name, Naoya Inoue. He is already a major star in the sport of boxing, says Mr. Spencer Oliver.